Hello, my friends. Welcome back to podcast after 1 year. I think the last one was 1 year ago when we had the podcast and online. But now we have a completely new podcast studio, a whole crew. And actually, the first guest is Ragnar Sass, an Estonian entrepreneur, NAFO fella, the leader of the 69th Sniffing Brigade, and a guy who I always work with and do every my fundraiser with Ragnar to help Ukrainians.
Hello, REHI Army. Hello, NAFO community. It's very good to be here and push this podcast out because there are so much going on lately, almost daily. Like as we are now here in the studio, Ukraine parliament is voting for mobilization law second time and tomorrow it should be adopted. So we see now it's spring. It's like almost 20 degrees outside and I feel spring is also in Ukraine now.
Oh yeah, we're going to Ukraine first. In May, we're going to go, and I'm waiting so much because this year I've only gone once, and it was so cold and wet, and now it's gonna be like 25. I think I'm gonna swim in the Dnipro River for the first time in my life.
I am not sure. I would not do that.
Everybody says don't do it.
No. Like back in days, like 10 years ago, I went to the one startup event in the Dnipro and one island, and people went to the swim, and then after 5 minutes, guy had huge wound on the leg. So like I wouldn't do that.
Huge
like
what? Like
leg? Like there's a bottle inside of the beach. In the Dnipro.
A wound?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I'm just maybe very safe. By the way, but Kiev has those like basically pools top of the skyscraper, so you can go and swim there.
And watch the missiles go by.
That's also there is some extra things now, extra fireworks just for you.
I have a question. Like every time we go to Kiev, I have to say we usually have gone with Ragnar and his team, and every time the hotel has been picked out for us. It's a really beautiful Western-style hotel, good breakfast, but it's the highest class building in the middle of Kiev. So what's up with that?
I don't think it's the highest, by the way, and actually I think that it's it's a war time. I think that in Kiev, no matter where you are, it's a capital which is in the war. But I believe that this area where we always stay is quite safe, that there are some very strategic things nearby. So I think that before, anything happens, everything will be taken out by the air defense. Indeed, air defense is another case, but what is better and better in Ukraine, which I cannot go into detail, is that the tracking system about rockets and anything what flies is world level now. And there are like hunters of the rockets, like many of them, with different ways how they do that. This number is every month growing, so I'm feeling very safe actually in Kiev. And you know what's crazy, but people don't understand, and you know that feeling. If you read that news, we are following all of the Twitter and YouTube and all of that things. It's pretty scary. Like it's only bad news.
The headlines is only trauma and tragedy.
And if you go to the Kiev, and I feel relief. That's for me personally the biggest relief from the stress to go Kiev, to meet those soldiers, to see how motivated they are, and to feel there is a normal, some level indeed, life in Ukraine.
Also, the feeling that I am doing something to change the circumstances and change, like people in Estonia, they read these headlines and they have this panic and fear, but they don't do anything about it. And everybody can do. I'm not saying that they should immediately donate, but people can do so much with directing their energy into right news, for example, not reading some BBC or New York Times Russian propaganda stuff.
Yeah, I agree, because actually mentally what we're dealing more and more, the people started to burn out already long time. And you get that feeling when you hit the wall all the time. You hit the fall. And this is what we do. I think that for them, all of our team, is just relief to feel. And, later lead. Like we had a bus in the ambulance in February convoy. And literally 2 weeks later, this ambulance was in the Kherson, and taking wounded from the Marine Brigade, and the guy said, "You saved my life," and it literally happened. Just ambulance arrives, we are giving it to the team, and you can track this. And I have even talked teams who said this one car have saved 70 lives. Think about it, just one car story is that.
It is, we as volunteers, this one car costs, what, 20,000 euros?
No, it's like car itself costs less, but we need to have jammers of that.
Yeah,
but overall, exactly, like cost to deliver and hand it over is 18, 20,000, depending, to be rebuilt. The range is right. And, this can make so many different things. And people are still surprised, why you still need them? what we are facing is that this war is destroying so much stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like FEB drones is like, I'm following, it's just insane how much is basically...
And the front line is 1,000 kilometers, something like that. So you can never fill that void with cars. People think, oh, you delivered like 20 trucks or 200, 300 almost in your case. I mean, it's not, it's a bottomless pit, but you have to fill it. You have to try to keep.
You know, the most crazy is that Ukraine is still forming new brigades. And new brigades literally say, get something from the, like, indeed, they get all of the gear, the uniform, all of those things. They are already struggling with like armor, but they almost don't get any cars. Like literally, so that's new brigades, like National Guard. So Ukraine's still forming new brigades, and those are the most struggling because they get like, you know, they train soldiers, they get them and so on, but no cars. So literally like people are still like, I think for me the most highlighting or eye-opening was when we was last summer in Kramatorsk, because we saw the reality near frontline, like what cars actually like. It's much different from Kiev.
They drive everything they have. It doesn't even have to be a truck. Whatever car moves, that's it, right?
So we can laugh about Russians who are using like Golf, you know, whatever they're using. But Ukraine also using now the golf carts. Those are armored, by the way.
The Chinese golf carts.
Yeah, no, but Ukraine has to. And you know what's crazy? Did you understand that it has pluses, this golf cart, because it moves fast. It moves fast and it's not so loud.
Is it electric?
I don't know that, but it just has a one mission, which is crazy, to bring like making like basically moving soldiers to the whatever, to the attack, and then it destroyed. So the stupidity of the Russians is that they don't care what the soldiers survive indeed. But for Ukraine side, it's sadly, you know, making huge damage.
And they are cheap also from China. You can get one of those for 5,000 compared to even a Russian BTR. It's very cheap. So, and if you don't care about the lives, just
anything
give them
moves.
Bicycles.
Yeah, have you seen bicycles?
Yeah, it's just pedaling away to the front.
No, I you know the sad story. We have given bicycle. We have given.
No way. NAFO bicycles.
No, not bicycle.
Night vision and jammers.
But this is not a joke now. So we have next week one secret military meetup in Estonia, and one guy who is coming and presenting his company is building military bicycles.
No.
Yes.
What the hell?
Come on, like
I don't know.
Like anything. Let's listen him. I don't want to make statement, but he's building military bicycle.
All right, it's gonna be funny. I'm gonna bring popcorn. Like, what's gonna be armor in front or jammer on top of it? Night vision camera.
I don't know the tiles yet, but you know, the
machine gun mounted.
You know, exactly what we are struggling to understand is how huge is frontline. Like, and that we haven't really seen and faced that scale war after Second War. Like Second World War, indeed there was, you know, Korea, there was Vietnam and so on those, but in Europe itself, and the scale is like crazy.
And also looking at what's going on in USA, for example, we just talked about this, but the United States Defense Minister today said again, like many US officials, that they strongly don't agree with Ukraine striking Russia refining stations, oil refining factories, which Ukraine does very efficiently because that drives up the oil prices in the world, and US is directly losing money because of that. What do you think about that?
I think that, first of all, like what the effect is, not most important effect indeed, is that the Russia war machine has less cash. That's the first effect.
Yeah.
Second effect is that they already asking from Kazakhstan gasoline.
Yeah, and Belarus also.
Yeah,
they're importing.
Sorry, Russia is asking that. And this also has a huge propaganda, like message. Like Ukraine can do that. Indeed, it has some reflections, but let me be frank now. If all of the sanctions would work, then no one wouldn't care because officially you cannot buy oil from Russia anyway.
Good point.
So please, US, fix the sanctions and all is good. Don't fix it. Don't give the weapons to Ukraine. Ukraine can do what. Actually, Ukraine made a statement that they are still independent countries.
So they can do what they want with their own drones anyway.
Yeah, think about 1941, whatever. Who was president of US? Roosevelt?
Yeah.
Calling like, hey guys, don't bomb, you know, German whatever, you know, factories. There are human inside of working and building planes. They are good people. Like people would laugh. Like we are like, I think that one thing which is tragic, I think that many times is that we are in the extreme harsh war environment and we should act like that. I understand the political claim about that, but same time, how many months? 5 months not giving thing to Ukraine. I think that
And there's plenty of months till elections, so they're waiting for that. But even after that, we don't know. But the whole thing, the funny thing about the refineries is that, yes, Ukraine is destroying them. There's this refinery bingo that fire, fire, fire. And if you get the bingo, it's very good. But now the Orsk Dam broke because of negligence, and that flooded one refinery. So
oh really? I
yeah,
didn't know that.
now most of them burned, but one of them is underwater. So
No, but maybe Russian people, or Russia, these good officials, be more corrupt,
I saw a video today, Ilya showed it to me, that there was a plane flying over and the regional government was inside filming himself, like, look, we're fixing it. We are proper guys fixing it. And the Orthodox monks were chanting with icons on top of the water. It's like, God, take this water away.
Okay. I saw also a video, which is the best, like, there was a Shoigu, I think so, in some armor thing, and then people was with usual pose next to that, and then was like, Shoigu, what the hell you doing? And it made waves, and those people, exactly. So this is a joke indeed. But the good thing is that as we looking this new stage of the war, I think that we are seeing something which maybe blows my mind is this innovation what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that US have to tell, hey guys, don't bomb Russian oil factories, is how is it done and who is doing that? It's all of this thing is made in Ukraine.
Yeah, because if US would give those weapons, they would not say this, but just not give the weapons anymore. But since they don't have the leverage over Ukraine anymore, they actually have to publicly come out with this, since they don't have no control.
So I think that in this new stage, we have really we are facing realities that we are moving closer. Probably we would see in next 2 months that there will be attacks by basically like Matrix movie. You have some huge drone full of small drones, opens the gates and sends this hell out of the, I hope, Russians indeed. And that's something that I don't know how many Hollywood movies have done that, but that is reality now.
Mm-hmm. But everybody's talking now, Ukrainians are also talking, Budanov was saying this, that Russia is doing a major offensive this year in the summer, mobilization perhaps for June, but offensive maybe August, September. So Ukraine is mobilizing perhaps now, but Russian offensive in August. Like, how does that all play together?
I think that's exactly that. The fact is that whatever way we are looking, it's rough now. There are so many moving parts, like when will be F-16? Mm-hmm. It is still a small thing of the big picture. The second thing is that the only balancing thing that Ukraine has now is the drones. Mm-hmm. So it helps all of this, like the Estonian warfare stuff what they built, helps that you can have less soldiers on the front. And if you have attack, you basically go and discover it much faster, and you will send so much hell to them. So what I see now, which is huge trend, is that I see how fast Ukraine is forming drone units. In our convoy, by the way, I'm looking at the list. I believe half of the cars that we are delivering is for the drone units. Many of them brand new. So that luckily, and if you look also at the numbers game, I see that from the different sources that Ukraine is destroying approximately 5 times more care with FPV drones than Russia.
Care, you mean like...
tanks, everything,
Okay.
Yeah, the sad part is that, which is harsh thing, what we don't understand is that if you look about how many people getting killed, it's even, but it seems that Ukraine teams are really focusing just, more like bigger targets.
You mean it's even that Ukrainian and Russian casualties on drones are the same?
Basically, it's even if you look at attacks of the single or soldier. Like that, FPV drone just focusing human. Mm-hmm. That's the number of the attacks seems to be similar range. But if you look and you just see that, drone was attacking and is it dead or wounded, mm-hmm, whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you look you cannot see how many people are inside of better or tank and so on. That sense, indeed, the casualties Russia has way more.
Yeah, I see these videos when BTR is riding and there's a whole squad, like every square meter on top of that BTR is filled with Russian people, mm-hmm, just waiting, and the drone goes in and it's meat fest.
Yeah, absolutely. So the only thing that I agree is that there will be frontal attacks. The most scary one, I believe, is that it seems that Russia has a strategy to destroy Kharkiv.
Yeah, but there's no way in hell they can take that city with manpower. it's a city of over 1 million. If you give half of them weapons like they happened in Kiev when Russia was trying, it's physically not possible. They can destroy it and it's a humanitarian catastrophe, but there's no way they can do that with just sheer manpower.
True, but again, there is no logic in the Russian side. So you just cannot like apply what we talk here. They just go and, you know, there is sort of everything that is worst. I think that one good news I was reading is that gliding bombs GPS are jammed now.
Are jammed?
Yes.
Ukrainians are doing that.
No, at least 93rd Brigade publicly told that, which is surprising. So that at least in part of the front line, they have been jamming these gliding bombs. But here's the case: it's making big difference if you're in the just empty area, but in the city it doesn't make difference.
Yeah, because it still hits something.
Yeah,
but that reduces the gliding bomb's efficiency in the front line.
Yes. So basically, they are claiming that the gliding bombs have made extremely huge damage, taking out even command posts. So now this risk is much lower because they are jamming them, which means that it goes off like 100 or 200 meters.
No, but this is huge because glide bombs was one of the most efficient Russian weapons. That's why they.
It still is, but at least this is like literally like few days ago I was reading this statement. I was like, wow, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, because they put a 3,000 kilogram bomb into production. It's a new bomb totally, and.
That's the good question about this bomb, which is not yet arrived, but at least this is 500 and I think that 1,000 kilograms. Those are jammed, and I think that exactly. If you look like how to find any positivity out of that, what's going on in Ukraine, I see so much innovation which is not public. It's just insane.
They publish it after they have had an effect.
No, by the way, there are things which no one haven't published even yet. Like there is like new innovative, basically the ways how to basically send bombs, like 100, 200, whatever kilometers. Attacks are done, things are taken out, no videos.
I think we cannot talk about that part.
No, I mean that we can say there's going things up, and I have no idea how they do that. But the fact is there are things innovative level which is making difference. So in that sense, I would believe, and that's also maybe why US is so nervous.
Yeah, Ukrainians have surpassed them, and US is pumping billions into these things, and Ukraine is doing them in cellars and basements for 1/100th of the money. And US has to buy things for them in the future, I think.
You remember we was in this one lab, and you can get the sense that extremely smart people are working, and the development cycle is insane.
Scalable, efficiency, everything the US actually doesn't have in this. Like they have it if they pump billions into it.
No, I think that how it's developed is probably 10 times at least faster than US, because the cycle is you're building this thing. Let's say you're a deep hacker, you're building it. You're giving in the morning to soldier. It literally goes to front line. It's same evening on the front line. It's doing next day. It's back with new data. 24 hours. Think how long it takes in US, like
you gotta go to testing range, analyze, wait for the weather, whatever. They test it immediately in Ukraine. People die, so like this is the first-hand data you can get. Yeah.
And maybe the sadness of that is that how ineffective is drones in from West is that there was some British drones which was cost price millions, which they discovered it's just not good for the bad weather.
Oh my God.
That's it, because it was in some lab, everything works, and then you have like, wait a minute, we have rain here.
It rains like every day in England.
Yeah. Or we have like strong wind, and the effectiveness goes like unbelievable.
Maybe that's why Germans don't want to give the Taurus, because it's German weapon. It's over-engineered. It cannot work in the sand or in the snow like every German, like BMW or Mercedes, whatever Germans make. It's not reliable. It just looks very fancy and is over-engineered. Maybe Taurus is like that.
But you have a good point, because this is reality. Like if you give and you see results and this is bad. Plus,
Rheinmetall, and Germany is a huge weapons exporter. If they get bad prep, it's really like Rheinmetall is one of the only areas that German military tech is the only areas that is still in plus in huge revenues, because German economy is like stabilizing. These parties making huge revenues, and if they get very bad press, this goes down also. So they have a lot to lose.
Absolutely, but same time also, like if you look defense industry in Europe, I was positively, and I keep positively surprised by French people.
Oh yeah, every video I make now, I talk about French. I like cue the French anthem, and it's like some Napoleonic song on, and
because I saw the statements that somebody was the Minister of Defense or Minister of Foreign Affairs or even President himself said you French military industry cancelled all orders and everything what they do will go to Ukraine now.
Really?
Yeah, I saw this statement a week or two ago that they said, hey guys, at this moment, what we produce is Ukraine.
I do agree, and I praise the French for it, but I can also understand the motives because the French are almost the only European nation with still an empire in Africa. And Wagner is taking half of that from them now, or like Russian forces in South Sudan. And so they have a lot to lose in Africa. So they have every interest to fight Russia everywhere. But still, I agree with what they're doing. So,
No, but think about at this moment of like we had kind of waves, in the some moment was British was the strongest, and now we have a new wave. And honestly, like for the Germans, they are still the biggest supporter financially after US by the way.
Yeah.
So they're still bigger than French. But now we see like the most brave is French, and then we have the small countries which is unbelievable is Czech Republic,
Netherlands with F-16s. Denmark.
Yeah.
And Estonia.
Yeah. But I was surprised, when I discovered that actually Czech Republic has also quite big military industry.
Really?
Yeah. So they are actually historically they are producing, and most important they are not only finding ammunition in whatever places in the world, but they have something that they do locally. It's probably Soviet time like history because they for some reason had it, but they are totally doing like probably 5x more they could do for the size.
But what worries me, I looked at the map and Russia, Belarus, and then there's Slovakia and Hungary, and they're right next to each other. So these two countries are like a Russian army in Europe, and they're in the EU and in NATO, and they're next to each other, making this unified autocratic bloc in the EU, and it's really bad.
Yeah, but it's totally not good. But let's just again think about there is no Russian army. It is just like they are clearly manipulated by East, but it doesn't make so big difference in the big scale. I think that it's what decides U.S. Congress is what it matters. What does French, Germany, it's not good news, especially now when also president I think that who won in Slovakia, was it? Was also somebody who is...
Yeah, pro-Russian, I think.
Yeah, so pro-Russian. But anyway, this doesn't make a big difference in frontline anymore because it has been like that already, like 2 years. Hungary has big demonstrations.
Yeah.
So basically, almost every weekend they're going on. Let's see how far this goes. Important is that this electronic warfare, Ukraine will get much more help. And believe me, you have also seen those things which we cannot fully like go to detail, but we actually, as you know, we probably just see 10% or 5%, even 1% maybe what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine what actually is going on under the cover.
But I do have to agree, a little bit don't agree with the United States thing because Europe has the money, Europe has the armies to focus on Russia, Europe has the capability to defeat Russia without the US, period. It's about political decision, I think. And I personally believe that we should take care of our own security and not rely on the US.
I
pick ourselves up while supporting Ukraine.
I agree, but I think this is a fundamental change what's going on now.
This is changing now.
Yeah, and this is huge change. I think that we see something which, first of all, we never imagined we would see in our generation, but probably this is 10-year cycle at least that Europe is investing to military, not like twice more, but probably 4 or 5 times more if you look like at least 10-year cycle. So which means that the military industry and also US is losing now money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Europe is investing, where's they buy this? Ukraine. So actually, there are Ukraine companies which not only building things for Ukrainians, but they have already lined up NATO countries to buy that. And they don't buy any more from Boeing, Lockheed Martin, whatever, because they just know that Ukraine is producing things which is battle tested. Cheaper, exactly. And this is relevant. They're not getting it now, but that is the change, and economical hit will hit one moment US.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. US is led by businessmen. Businessmen know that you want to make money, you got to send free stuff, basically. And Trump knows this, Biden knows this. Like, the best way to make billions and hundreds of billions for the US weapons industry is to send weapons to Ukraine.
True, but Bradley's is still good. F-6 or whatever, F-35 now. He's also the unbeatable. But other areas, I think that in the drones, probably Ukraine is competing with China. They are not at that level, I think so. No, some levels they are, but think about DJI. Think about how much DJI is still like in front line.
This is going to, like you talk about 10-year cycle, I think this is a cycle that will also slowly follow, that DJI will be pushed out slowly.
Absolutely no question. And you know, even today morning, like we had a call with somebody, Ukrainian founder who is building cameras. Because for the drones. Because you can build a drone in Europe or US, but there are still the last things which you are having hard time to replace made in China is cameras and engines. And now I see there are more and more options for the cameras, which is amazing. So we are not depending on any more China, but also it will be very, very soon when also engines are replaced. And then you have like exactly things produced in EU without China help.
That's about the newest fundraiser also that we're doing. Drones built. I asked how many parts are made in China. They said yes, there are Chinese parts, but only non-strategic parts, like the parts that Europe actually produces, and you can buy them there. But it's just so much cheaper now. But if China does anything, they will switch to Europe, and it's no problem. But like engines and stuff like that was made in Europe, I think already.
I think that few parts was. I'm not sure about engine and camera exactly, but what I really liked that the founder literally basically is back from Ukraine. And he got so positive feedback from basically every testing background and so on. And they said exactly, please just send it to us, like give it to us, because they was testing it in the most extreme jamming thing. And there is nothing which would work 100%. But this, how it worked, was way better. And you understand that this is 1,000-kilometer front line. So which means that even this, I saw just literally 2 days ago, Russian news about new jammer. It was so much buzz. It kills from 400 to megahertz until 3,000. And somebody opened it up and said, this part is made in China. This part is made in China. And the real was like, I think it was 700 and 900 exactly, only 2 ranges. And that's exactly, we cannot go to the numbers sadly for obvious reasons, but I think that we need, like this is what Kiteworks is building. I'm just like cannot wait seeing in the front line.
Yeah, for viewers also this new fundraiser that we just completed today actually, so thank you for doing that. But that is buying 5 drones that are made in Estonia mostly. We're giving them to Ukraine, and they just came back from Ukraine from testing. Soldiers really loved them. So they need replacement for DJI, which is anti-jammable, which is basically what we are supplying now.
And this is exactly what we are working with you daily. Looking what is these new things which would make difference. Because I think that what is unique about your community and the overall favelas is that we can basically push new things to market.
Yeah.
Because we can do it fast. We are just, hey, Artur, let's do that. And you are like, yeah. And next day we have like the thing, we have the first money in, and then after months we again, here's the proof. We don't need to like, hey, give us permission, something like we did some campaign. So that's, and I think this is the best part of community. That's exactly that we are joining together all of the different elements and make a difference what no one cannot do.
Like, you cannot be more effective than we are, I think. There's no way, no one can. It's not possible physically.
Yeah. So we have literally we have guys in Kiev who literally, we are texting like 24/7, like in Estonia as well. Because exactly, we are just pushing out the information, we are finding out, and we are like, okay, we have a meeting tomorrow. Exactly. So we are connecting these things that what's going on inside Ukraine, getting like really like information from the ground. Because you can imagine many things, but you have to be there. You have to be there. And then here, we can go and, make things what you cannot do inside of Ukraine. So I believe this is very unique connections. There was also delegation, by the way, which I was not part in like just a week ago in Ukraine. But there was like, hey, we have a fancy meetings. Our guy was in the battleground. He was like he was driving our bus to Ukraine. We said this testing drones, and he was not in the fancy, meetings and have a champagne. It just went to the polygon. It just went to the meeting army guys.
That's how you get shit done.
Exactly.
You
and
can
now
go
he's
and
back.
And
think about how you can do that if you are based in London or Berlin or even in US. Just guys in here, it's easy. We have done it. It's 30 hours to Kiev. And you can make things happen.
On your car you go, you physically hand over the drones and cars, and voila, that's what we do. So I think this is also why people donate. They give the money. A month later, they see what their money is doing, basically.
And think about these people who we are working together. Like literally, probably, I have heavy respect for all of the units who has US and British and so on. But these guys who are working, they are today probably is the most battle-proof units in the world. Because they are now seeing reality which no one yet sees. Because if you are in Afghanistan or Iraq, it's just, hey, just, F-1635 is here, boom.
Yeah.
But this one-to-one, it's like you are in the trench and you have drones up of you don't even know how many, and you don't know who is enemy, who is you.
Yeah.
And you are just eye to eye, 5-10 meters.
There has been no war like that in Europe ever since Second World War. Like, people from Iraq, Afghanistan, they didn't see their enemy mostly. They shot at the enemy 1,000 meters away with rifles, right? That's it. Or some small arms fire, some air missions, some artillery, but they could never see the whites of their eyes. And in Ukraine, that is happening. And you talk to the soldiers also, you see, like in their eyes, what they have gone through. I just lost a friend yesterday, and today I'm here receiving this car, right? Wow.
There was a crazy photo in media just literally this week that Estonia was training soldiers as many Europe countries, and there was a photo that these 50 guys went to the basically to our soccer, like there was Flora and our local soccer league was at play. But what blows my mind about the casualties and how high prices Ukraine paying every day was like from these 50 guys, which was trained Estonia a year ago. Only 5 is active in the army. 45 is wounded or even dead.
Holy shit.
And that's actually, I think that this what we haven't, like I have been in many places when you see, here is the military cemetery and so on. This is the hard part, like the price what Ukraine is paying literally daily, like is insane. Like if you talk with this Sniffing Brigade, one US guy who did letter to the US Congress, like he sees that, and I just cannot imagine that range. The beautiful part is that Ukrainians are getting used to that things that, we know that they are lacking ammunition is insane level. But what I heard that they are even in humor that yes, we can't, like, can you imagine? They said, hey, we discover target, we cannot bomb this. Because we need to pick what we are bombing, by the way. But what it also does, that they are way more accurate. So they are basically now, there's rules that they are shooting only like when you have like, you just cannot ju. You know that every shot is kind of somewhere written down. If you have this peak attacks, like whatever, what was 35 tanks, they still took out like 12, I think so, plus PTRs and so on. So they have that ammunition indeed. But you cannot do like these fires that basically put everybody just, to the ground and so on. This is not, but Czech things, as I understand, very slowly this ammunition is arriving, but
they're still lacking about half of the money.
Yeah, but I think to say,
they're already buying with that half.
Like first of all, we don't know all details, full disclosure. No. But as I understand from rookiness as I am, so this amount is bought from 10 or 20 or 40 different countries and locations. So which means you will make one contract here is whatever, 50,000. So they are filling up exactly like orders and delivering. Mm-hmm. But the cycle, as you understand, is insane that from, let's say, from some Latin America country, which probably is the case.
African also.
Yeah, is delivering that first for the REHI show in Poland. That's the number one location. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's even like, first it goes to Spain, and then it stays there a few days, and then it's flies. No one knows.
It's a long process.
This is probably Hollywood movie material as well. How just Czechs calling, hey.
Oh, yeah.
This is, do you have ammunition? I am Czech president.
I can hear Petr Pavel is like,
yeah. Hey, we met, back in days on 80s on that city,
We had a beer.
We need more of like, a resident of Czech Republic. We really love him.
I think 2 people right now are on that level for me. Czech President Petr Pavel and Emmanuel Macron. Napoleon and Czech President, basically.
True. Yeah, but I really hope we will see more heroes like that coming, out of blue. Let's see what countries. But those guys is in history for the best reason. Like always, like hands out.
It's the toughest time and they're picking that up. I mean, Boris Johnson, right? When everything was tough, he was, we're sending the Storm Shadow, first country to do so. But he kind of didn't assume that role for me. It's a little bit funny and goofy, and I couldn't really respect him like that.
And my British friends a little bit now like, what's going on? But at least say they are giving these old cars now after like long discussion,
Old cars.
So there basically there's new laws that if you have a car which is not applied for the EU about CO2, whatever, So at first was we scrapped them all.
Oh, okay.
But now they were like, okay, fine, we are giving them to Ukraine.
You know what the Latvians did a half a year ago was really brave because it could have faced resistance. Like if you get caught drunk driving, they will just send your car to Ukraine.
Amazing. I'm just like...
I think half of Estonians would lose their cars. Like, I mean, I agree with this, but Estonians drink so much that this would really be an issue for people.
Oh, no. I think that they are, like, don't listen, Artur. I think that he still...
I agree. We should do the
childhood, we are, it's not 90s anymore.
Why don't they do that? I actually asked the police chief about that and they...
You know why? I told you that we just like... Literally today we bought 4 Toyota Hiluxes from one governmental agency who donated cars like last year, and it took them 10 months to solve paperwork.
What were they doing?
That's exactly the problem. Even in Estonia, like we are actually fast, like we can, we can influence the things. We have governmental agencies super open and so on. But even here, the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Estonian government is one of the more efficient and fastest governments in Europe, and
in the world.
Yes. And people are like, oh, what the Estonia, former Soviet? Like, look it up. Like, we're e-country, super fast, but still 10 months for 10 cars is stupidly slow.
And now literally think about today is what? Today is a 10 April, and this car will be 3rd of May in the front line because of us. Because we will...
You just bought it.
Yeah, we just today bought it, we are renovating, and it will be in the first week of May already in front line.
Did we tell the viewers, like the story was that Estonian Forest Ministry was trying to donate cars to Ukraine, and it took them 10 months, so Ragnar was like, screw that, I'm going to buy all the cars and deliver them in 1 month.
Yeah, they was putting it to auction, we needed to beat everybody else indeed to get them,
Yeah.
But it was exactly this car which is running... but not so nice anymore.
Like 7,000,
somebody has been smoking
6,000.
inside, whatever. But hey, guys, engine, it can be fixed. The everything else, let's renovate. You need to invest cash to that and time to being the level. But, there is some scratches. No one cares. That's a perfect car for us.
I can just imagine Roland. Roland is the guy then who is the wizard who looks at the car and does that and is well and fine. And Ragnar is like, hey, I found these 20 shitty cars for you. Get to work, Roland. He's like, oh, shit.
No.
My wife's going to be mad.
No, Peter will be more. Peter is more like Peter is the other guy we have. Like, and he in this auction there was 4 Nissans, and I didn't have approval to vote for the Nissans. Nissans is no go
because they break or hard to fix.
It's hard to fix. They break so often. Sorry, guys. We are really official Toyota guys here. Thank you, Toyota, building literally the most reliable cars in the world. For the front line, indeed.
L200, Toyota Hilux.
Isuzu D-Max.
Isuzu D-Max, but every time I see Amaroks, Volkswagen Amaroks.
Amarok is also very fine. But you know what is... Yeah, Amarok is fine.
It's like on the next level of luxury compared to Toyota.
No, and Ford Ranger. But the most crazy about Isuzu, many people don't know Isuzu D-Max, is that Ukraine is building factory which will start to produce old Isuzu D-Max.
It's so damn robust and reliable.
Yes.
That's it, right?
Yes, that's
like
it. What you need? You need a strong engine, reliable engine. You need a strong pace. The wheel, everything else, and just send it. And you need to produce them on the scale.
And you don't need massage seats. You don't need ventilated steering wheel. It's just for war. Send it. Yes.
And what people don't realize is that Ukraine has a history of factories which are producing, like in Soviet Union time, it produces like buses. They produced Zaporozhets,
even pianos, Ukraine pianos.
Rockets, by the way.
Rockets, yeah.
We have one Ukrainian Estonian defense company which up until 24th of February was building space rockets for the small deliveries. Like a Volt, basically. Said it. You send something to the space, like which is like less than 3-4 kilos. They switch to the new thing, and now they're building communication tools, which would connect soldiers and also future devices. But before that, he still has, by the way, and it was based not in even Kiev but in Dnipro. That's the talent what is in Ukraine, and that's also why we are going inside of that to meet those people and to see them. And locally, just for our audience, there are many things which we see would influence how we can better help. and how after months 3, 4, depending on the project, you will see something. But believe me, this we're always looking, what's the most newest thing which has the highest basically impact to the front line.
For the cheapest amount of money.
So it's, and that's maybe the case of this war. It's not like you have here is my order book, and you just go, your order book is changing.
Some big organizations, that's what I have issue with. We are efficient, we do this, you innovate also, but some big organizations, they don't, and they're just stuck with their order book. Okay, we're going to buy the same drones for the second year now that don't switch the frequencies, that haven't upgraded anything. They're gathering hundreds of millions, some of them, big organizations, but they cannot change because they're big bureaucracies, right? And that's what they buy. And it's pretty pointless.
Yeah, the one thing I'm just thinking how to tell that. Okay, one thing what I like about this campaign, Credworks, is that they have built the device in the way that it's adaptable for situation. It's adaptable in the ways that you can change some of the things what needed to be changed on the front line, not going back to the lab.
I think everybody who knows anything about drones already understands maybe.
Yeah, but I don't I'm always trying to not go so deeply so they would not open things what we needed to tell. Yeah. But that's exactly that. Everything that you build today should be adaptable.
Oh yeah. If it's only fixed for one scenario, it's basically useless. Yeah. For example, German tanks, Leopard tanks, very good on paper. They're very good tanks, but put them in water, in mud, and in sand, they don't work. Okay, if you can't adapt, it's raining, you're screwed. Same with Challenger in England. The tank is a nightmare. It fires perfectly. It takes shots in. It's strong, but it gets stuck in the mud. And T-72 Russian tank, it fires worse. It cannot see so much because it doesn't have proper night or thermal vision, but it just goes through the mud. So it needs to be adaptable, that's it.
Totally. But from this hardcore, people was talking tanks are not anymore relevant. I feel that the only one who has been winning is Bradley's, isn't it? Because Bradley's has done what they need to be doing.
They're light, they can go through the mud, they take out T-90s with 25mm cannons. How is this possible?
But you just need maybe 10 or 20 times more than.
I mean, I saw that one Bradley taking out that one tank. I mean, if tank hits a Bradley, it's dead. That's how it is.
But soldiers are alive. That's what counts, because
you think so?
Yeah. At least the 47 Brigade, which is using them, they have been extremely happy with them. And I believe also, how is this German version? What's the German?
Marauder.
Yeah, they're just sending more of that. I think the Marines are using that. They're also pretty happy with that.
3rd Brigade or? No. 4th or?
No. I think the Marine Brigade, some of them, it's a 30 something.
Grinky?
Huh?
35th?
Yeah, maybe 35th. Yeah.
Over the Dnipro?
No, you cannot go with the Dnipro. But because some battalion is using, but not over the Dnipro indeed. But no. In some moments it was, but at this moment I'm not even. It's crazy what's going on. So.
I mean, if they can jam the glide bomb, then Dnipro contingent is going to do a lot better because they were always under bombardment on the glide bombs.
Totally.
Yeah. So
again, probably it depends also that this is the most extreme areas. So we don't know is this jamming in other side of the Dnipro, because probably this device should be closer to the front line. I imagine.
But have you heard about that Kaliningrad jammer? It's a static jammer. Probably it's nothing that they are using in Ukraine. It's like a built-out facility, a jamming house basically, or a jamming station.
I have seen only news how much it jams, but I don't know nothing more.
Like the ability that it jams, it's nothing that can move. It's huge, it's bigger than anything the US has ever built.
But that blows my mind. Think about how much Russia was ready for that. Like electronic warfare, what they built before the war.
It's probably Soviet equipment that works there. Because, I mean, they always talk about their Wunderwaffe. They haven't talked anything about a jammer like that. They have talked other Sopark anti-artillery radar system. But this is like a whole new secret FSB level stuff that nobody knows what it is. Easy fix. Bombard Kaliningrad, it's gone. Bomb the hell out of it. I think Sweden is militarizing Gotland to do that, of course. But right now it's working there. Yeah.
No, I really hope that this advantage that Russia built in literally 30 years, whatever, will start to fade slowly because of the new things what is now in the front line. Also, I heard there are many new solutions which built on the totally rare frequencies, which those Soviet Union times don't cover, and also whatever the things which is built now. And because the fact is that in Ukraine, time from the prototype to the market is very fast. This is the only advantage which Ukraine has. In Russia, this is still very centralized and so on, very corrupt, decided who can do. And that's exactly the only advantage that even though, let me be frank, Russian meat industry is huge and it has increased heavily how much it produces. But new stuff is different case. Because of it's so centralized that some important people need to earn money when something's in the market. If they don't earn, they kill this.
Yeah, and if it's very necessary, it just cannot happen if you don't know how to earn from this. Like, also everything happens according to the order.
Yes,
if
exactly.
There's an order, then it happens.
Even this thing about this like dams and so on. If Moscow doesn't call, people cannot do nothing.
I saw yesterday's video. It was so funny to me. The dam broke in Orsk. People were underwater. They gathered in the city village, like the central square, and okay, here is the problem for us. Our homes are flooded. My baby is crying because it's water everywhere. Putin, help us. Pomogite. Like, what a flock of sheep. Do something, not like cry to the Tsar. They cannot change their circumstance at all.
I think that this is if you're part of empire. And you basically are used to that. I think that Ukraine, that's the biggest difference Ukraine and Russia has. Ukraine would go to and make a revolution, like they Dignity. Have made many revolutions.
Yeah.
I think they are like, sorry, you didn't do what you promised. We are going to burn something down. French people will also be already like, French would like, half of the police cars would be immediately bombed. You know? But they are just like, or they sending, priest comes and puts some holy water.
Holy water on top of that water.
Yeah. This is crazy. And also, like, did you saw this? 10 days ago, Russia Church had some congress. Did you saw what decisions they made? You didn't? Oh my God, guys, please. There are definitely...
Holy war? The procurement of holy war?
Not only. They had a goal now, guys, and this is serious. It is document from the end of March 2024. There was like the goal, Russia should... Every believer should work to goals that Russia would be 600 million.
People?
Yes.
So
I'm reading that. This is like 16th century or something?
It's like make babies for the Tsar, basically?
Yes. And this is, and guys, it's not a joke. You're reading that and your mind blows a mind and you are like, what century we are? But that's what, and disclaimer, officially 60% of the Russians are part of this church.
Which is part of FSB, which means 60% of the, like, to say that this is not Russia's war, it's Putin's war, like, this is collective Russians' war. Russians are responsible collectively in this war.
But what kind of, like, delusional world like, so many Russians living is insane. Like, this document is just like how Russia exactly is holy war against Satanism and so on. So they are the only one in the world who is a true Christian saving the planet.
And then in 2019, Putin decriminalized home violence. So they are like, God's values in family, beat your wives.
I don't know how much this is different from 1939, you know, when German society turned into the same thing.
I am just reading a book about German history on that part, and it's eerie how similar it is. It's so crazy. Not the West, but specifically Russia, like what Hitler did in 36, 37, he was elected in 33. It's basically Putin's last 10 years. Remilitarization of the Rhineland, Anschluss with Austria, then Czechoslovakia, demand Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia, and that was like everything happened after like 2 years. For Russia, it was the Russo-Georgian War, the war of Chechnya before, of course, and then the Crimea. It's the same. It's
Donbass, the same area.
Donbass,
exactly.
Right?
I'm also like, and this is a very frightening thing because you see this historical trend, and then you look West reactions. Mm-hmm. And you understand, so that we have less and less time. And most crazy thing I have seen now is that people in startup world who was focusing climate change, who are understanding the mathematics, are focusing now the war because they understand the trends. They understand what it takes to overtake that trend. So they are literally taking time off from working with solutions against climate change to address that war, because now it has been growing to the levels that many people are talking. It's not a question when Russia would attack NATO. It's how they would and when. And again, disclaimer is war can be cyber war. War can be sending us some drones and whatever, some lunatics in. This is still war.
Yeah, but in this case, we are already at war because just I read about, I think it was Dutch or which prime minister it was. They said that Russia has been attacking the logistics of airplanes and trains in Europe for last 2 years regularly. Hackers are they're all on Putin's payroll, so it is logistics war already, and they're jamming the planes in Kaliningrad.
Totally, but we haven't taken any step, you know. We have the only one who's taking is Macron now, exactly.
Yeah.
And the president of Czech Republic, you know, in Baltic states and Poland, we need, you know.
Yeah, I mean Macron is banning Russian companies that are connected to Russian disinformation somehow, like
Totally.
banning them in EU. No other country has done that.
So the really question is when most of the world will wake up. Luckily, there are now momentum building heavily, at least in DefenTech, you know, exactly when we have event next week, which is only like selected people, like we saw how much people are just flying here to talk, you know, and the community is rapidly growing. And it's, as also I'm following trends, I have understanding about geometric, you know, the increase and so on. This is which gives real hope. So because there are many bad news, no question, but mathematically, and all of like, it's just, think about how big is Russia economy if we compare to US or we compare even to Germany and so on. And it's sad, extremely sad how costly it will be Ukraine. But I mean, if you talk about long trend, which is for me 5 years in this context, this cannot be won by Russia in any circumstances.
I don't have the knowledge that you do, but I look at different parameters and I arrive at the same conclusion. It cannot. If you just look at like macroeconomics even, it's not possible.
Yeah.
They're burning out their war chest. They're not producing any new tanks. Every tank they use is refurbished from a Soviet warehouse. So they're making like 50 tanks a month, 35. They're losing 150 a month. So there is no way physically, if you look at any numbers, they cannot sustain this. But we have to increase in any way military production procurements.
You know, I think that what we need to really talk is how much every citizen, how much every company should kind of, is it donate or kind of pay the war percentage, you know? Like
a war tax, basically. You're talking about the war tax then.
Yeah, war tax. I think that Baltic states anyway, we have increased heavily how much we basically invested in defense.
I think Estonia is like the third country in NATO overall.
But I think that every country should do that, and it should move to the human level, and that's exactly what we do. You know, I believe that our communities are literally people who probably are increasing 5-10% what they are basically giving from the monthly income to the supporting Ukraine.
Yeah, most like you lead the 69th Sniffing Brigade, which is like an organized helping of Ukraine, but a lot of that money comes from companies, right?
You know, actually, no. Like, let me think. So at this moment, I would say that we have been collecting data now 1.5 years. We have more than 10,000 donors globally. And company-wise, and the big donors and companies or entrepreneurs, I would say that they are 20%, 30%.
Oh, really?
So actually, the donations, which is starting from €1 to €5, this all together, it's probably 60-70%, by the way.
So the smallest donations, actually, it's just a mass of people.
Exactly, it's a 10,000 versus we have like some entrepreneurs who are like, you know, donating already 4th, 5th time, who have been donating like, let's say 100K. So we have few of those, but the small donations actually, as I say, are like thousands of them. They are actually passing the big ones.
So for the viewer also, if you follow Noel in Twitter, if you follow War Translated, if you follow
Kherson Cat.
Many other military bloggers, you know, the Western ones, the main ones, then actually, all of the funds they gather is done by Ragnar's team, actually. So the 69th Sniffing Brigade.
You know, the one thing what we understood, which is crazy, is that, you know, first of all, the people behind of that is entrepreneurs. And, you know, what is difficult is that we are running a non-profit organization, but it still need to be run like in the high-level principles like you're running company, you have marketing, you have community, you have partnership. That's exactly, because you alone can do something, but as soon you will increase your reach, exactly, as soon you partner, and you also need to be extremely public to build the trust that everyone knows that your donations goes to this exact soldier. What we are really working now with our team is that really showing more and more, not only that this is, let's say, 35th Brigade, 2nd Battalion, company number 2, but there is Ivan, who before the war was that human face. Because at the end of the day, we help humans. And that's important to understand. That's what resonates. But I understand how difficult it is to many hundreds of volunteers who are doing it just like 2 years already.
You mentioned a little bit like the burning out aspect of it, and we have seen so many big military bloggers burn out. Actually, they just stop, and a huge part is the people the war started, everybody panicked, me too. Like I was live streaming every night, and I felt it immediately because I've gone through that depressive phase in my life. I saw the symptoms and I pulled back. I need to get my rhythm. I will sleep at night, I will wake up, I will work, and then I will rest and I will work out and all of that. But many people are like, no, for Ukraine, every day, 24/7, and you cannot help Ukraine if you lose your mental stability. That's like the number one thing.
You know, even for me, I think that in these last 2 years, I can recall at least twice when I was at least months in very dark place, even longer probably.
Months.
I needed to cut like limit how much I read the live news. It's just insane, you know. And now, because exactly as I explained, if we are here, the only news what usually you are is still like there is huge aspect of people dying daily. And it's very difficult to balance that exactly. Find how your mental state will take fresh and positive information. So, and also, come on, we are in the most depressive country together with Finland, isn't it?
They were just elected the happiest country in the world.
I don't ever understand
what the hell is that. But well, 5 cups of coffee a day, that's what makes it.
No. And what the context exactly is that now we have like, I'm walking on the street, I'm like, fresh, it's a spring.
Yeah.
But think about November. When
going to Ukraine in November is depressive as hell.
We had the most dangerous, I think, so there was full ice, like dark ice.
Yeah.
You cannot see that. But wait, I think
bad.
that from the mood, I believe February was very dark by soldiers when Ukraine lost IDF. Like, it's so difficult to talk with them and ask anything positive. And it was almost like, just give me car and I will leave. And this was the people who I believe is kind of chosen. But this was the we talked with Alex Kinnash, our great friend who is now based in Kiev, our team member, and he knows that it was so hard and difficult. And that's exactly what I think that it's first, everyone who helps Ukraine have to do pauses. We have to go out of that flow, switch this off, take time, is it week 2, whatever, go to the, to the forest, go to do what helps you, read the book, totally offline, and then come back. And because we are in the marathon.
And I know the feeling of guilt, or the feeling like if let's say you're a Ukrainian helper or NAFO fella, you're doing that in Twitter, wherever you're doing, like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then you feel the itch. Oh, I need to know, because what if something big happens? Like, a good test is if you cannot switch that off, then you're hooked and you will burn out. That's a fact.
Yeah. And you need to limit, one thing that we have learned, and we have been extremely lucky, is that basically we are choosing heavily how we do campaigns, and in these 2 years we have finished every campaign and giving car. But why? Because we always need to be realistic what we can do. Because the most toughest game, if you really want to help and you are hitting the wall. And this is even tougher, is saying, yes, we would love to help, but we cannot do today. And people cannot say no.
I mean, with me also, I think I do these campaigns, they're pretty big, and I feel a lot of thankfulness and respect towards my audience, because they have given this money, and I feel like if I would give, then I would be asked immediately after that, and I feel like, okay, I'm giving and giving. I think a little bit like time to rest, time to think about it, to get the footage for people, and then want to donate, but it's not yet time for new campaign, and then it's new campaign, and people have been waiting for it, and then you can do another big one. Otherwise, people will burn out like the military bloggers.
Absolutely.
Same way.
And this is the also reason why we have these NAFO vellas, why we put these stickers. It's just we need to have some positivity, because, that's why we're using all of these stupid things where people laughing, but you need to have a reason to laugh. Even the moment when you're laughing, your body already is like, whew, there is something. And, that's why we call them orcs, that's why we do all of these crazy things, just to survive. Because exactly what is good in both of us, we think about long term. We think about...
And there is hope there and light and everything.
Exactly.
If I would only focus now and read the headlines, so bad, so sad. Also the videos, like I look at some military bloggers' videos and they've gotten it wrong. They think the views and the interest and the clicks come from extreme drama. Oh, Ukraine has killed so many Russians. No, a huge thing is coming. It's actually about human stories of grandmother saving or seeing grandson for the first time in 5 years. They're crying, or a kitten somewhere, or something funny. Like, it's about human stories and human emotions, not only about desensitizing people with these, big war stories.
Yeah, and it takes time to that our brains adapt to that as well. Like, for me and, for you as well, probably that we have been following that long, and it took us how much, like 18, 20 months when we was, okay, we need to step up and start to be more involved in defense, startups as well, to look them, to help them. And because I'm still thinking about, we are talking about we can go to space, we are talking about miracles we do, and then we are like, but wait a minute, how we can innovatively kill as a human? That's the absurdity, isn't it, what we are doing?
It is, but that's what we actually need to do and are doing right now.
I know, but
can I ask how many defensive startups have you now invested in?
Just the one now.
Just one?
Yeah. I am looking more, but for me, when I signed documents and wired money, so I have promised already at least 2 more. So I'm process to finishing them. But at this moment, and I would say that my goal is end the year somewhere 7, 8 at least.
Oh, wow. Whoa,
come on, today is April only. We have a lot of time.
That's 1 per month.
Yeah. And this would be semi-okay cycle. But the things what I'm dealing is that how to even meet this guy in Tallinn, how to get somebody who has extremely amazing stuff in Ukraine, so that we can have a coffee in Tallinn.
Because it's not, you don't want to invest in other countries. Like you want them to have a presence here before.
I want to meet them. Like, it's still people business, Like, I can support them and buy the things. But if you think about how they help Ukraine, but also Estonia, they need to be here. And Estonia is very uniquely here. You can set up company, you can have a...
in this way you're attracting more defensive capabilities into Estonia than the Estonian military.
I think that if I look this delegation which was in Ukraine, I said, soon startups will pass that. And this is just last like 4 or 5 months, which has been momentum building.
That's crazy. But it has been 1 hour already. It has been an amazing talk. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for doing what you do for Ukrainian and Estonian people.
Yeah, and thank you so much that you basically still have this energy and power. And thank you everybody who watching this. The one thing every time we visit Ukraine and tell soldiers, and you see from the eyes what moves them to the tears. If they feel they are not alone. If they feel that if they are in the trench, it's windy and rain, and it's snow and the people are dying, and they really feel that this what we do is coming from the people like him, who lives just in in Arizona, they live in New York, California, or London, Tallinn, Copenhagen. That moves them, and this morale in long term makes so big difference that they know that whatever is doing governments, and many of them are helping heavily, they know that even in people in Hungary or, even any country has these amazing people who are putting here is my last, I cannot put more, but here is my €5, $5, whatever. This thing is so important for them that this is not just some huge company, but exactly mainly our help comes from the people. actual people who feel connection and who wanna be part of history books and show, can you imagine like 30 years later they are putting like here is my badge, like here is how I helped to make a history and here is the proof and my proof is this. So I was part of 3 or 4 REHI army campaigns and so on. This is like, if we was kids, we had the stamps, remember?
Oh, yeah.
But
now it's this.
This would be that, years come, this thing which today is laughable will be in the history books.
It's crazy way to think about that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ragnar. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening and donating. You have really made a difference in Ukraine. Check out us out next week.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye.